I started to get heart palpitations and light-headed. I was bending down to catch my breath, and every time I got up I was almost passing out. To be honest, it got me worried. Am I fit enough to be sailing?
We're leaving the second anchorage up in Kota Belud to go back to the first bay because the weather has now changed and that bay will be nice and secure. There's also better internet there and there's a few places to go, maybe explore, go to the village. So just coming out, we're on 9 metres at the moment. Cleared the last fishing platform, little guy going across in front of me and just basically following the track out.
Well, we've done the hard bit. That's what I call a fast ascent. Good workout on the old legs there. Lizzie's feeling it a bit, so this may be as far as we go. I think Sharon and Lindsay are marching on ahead, but it was worth it just to get up to the top of this hill because we look out down onto the next bay and up the coast, so we can almost see the tip of Borneo here. There's a beautiful anchorage right next door to us. If you remember, I did a whole video on why it's important to have a bike on the boat, and that's because of the aerobic exercise. Of course, if you don't have a bike, you do this. You go for a walk, and it's not something that Liz and I do enough of. Sharon and Lindsay are very good like that. They're always off. They do hash runs as well. That's not running to get gear, that's hash harriers. But it's always worth it, isn't it? Especially in a review like this. This is quite an exceptional vista, and obviously not something that you see from the boat because you're that much more elevated. The perspective that we get here is nothing like what it actually is in real life, if you see what I mean. This looks like a nice protected bay, but in fact it is actually quite open to the sort of northwest and the west. So right now, with no swell, it would make a very pleasant anchorage, but we are better off anchored where we are. Even so, it's just stunning, and it's always worth doing this first thing in the morning before it gets too hot. It's probably not, it's not even 9 o'clock yet, and it's starting to heat up a bit.
Wow, she's beautiful.
What have we got there, Liz?
Mount Kinabalu, and it's 9:15 in the morning and there's hardly any cloud on the tip, so we can see the whole outline. It's 4,000 metres over there.
How many metres have we done?
Oh, it feels like about 5,000, all uphill. So what happened to the footage there, Jamie? We kind of stopped halfway through.
That was because I felt absolutely exhausted lugging my camera gear around on that rather strenuous hike.
Yeah.
In fact, I started to get heart palpitations and light-headed. I was bending down to catch my breath, and every time I got up I was almost passing out. And it, to be honest, it got me worried.
Yeah, that was sort of towards the end of the first bit before we returned and came back. You just gradually wound down, didn't you? I was the opposite. I was terrible at the beginning and almost gave up after that slope that we started. I actually got a little better and was able to carry on quite easily because you were lugging so much stuff around, and it was so hot.
Of the four of us on that walk, I was the youngest.
Yeah.
In the past, I've been pretty fit. You know, I'm not an athlete, but I'm fairly fit. That was really worrying though, and it got me concerned. The first thing I started thinking was, well, am I fit enough to be sailing?
Yeah.
And that's a really big thing because you do have to have a certain level of fitness to sail.
Yeah.
I think It's partly because we've been quite sedentary because of lockdown.
Totally. We have been stuck on the boat in a marina for months over this last year and a bit, however long it's been. Not something we're used to at all, and there's nothing you can do. We've been just working and sitting down on our laptops, and it wasn't really until that walk that we realised literally how terribly unfit we were.
Yeah. Now look, we have been doing a bit of walking. We've been walking to the shops. This is when we're in the marina. We've been cycling as well, but I don't think the level of fitness we were doing was enough. Certainly when you compare it to our normal lifestyle, which is to be sailing, get to a place, get ashore, go kayaking, go swimming, go walking. So I think it was a bit of a shock to the system.
So what did we do after that walk? We did something quite revolutionary for us.
What, bought a Fitbit?
Yeah, we went out and spent money. We bought these Fitbits. And by the way, they're not sponsoring this at all.
If we were a younger YouTube channel, we wouldn't even be talking about this. But it is something that happens as you get older. You do have to be a bit more conscientious of your levels of fitness. Fortunately, thanks to the Fitbit, it's able to monitor, among other things, your heart rate, your resting heart rate. It also has a little feature where you can set your weekly goal for the amount of moderate to strenuous exercise.
Yeah, they call it zone minutes, your zone minutes, that you're supposed to do a certain level every day. And they work it out on your age and your weight, but then you can reduce it, not really, you should increase it to give yourself a goal.
Yes, now the American Heart Association, I think it is, recommends 150 minutes, zone minutes a week, which is defined as moderate to strenuous exercise, so that could be from walking upwards. But you'd be surprised when you get a Fitbit or a similar device, you realise how quickly you can actually hit 150 minutes.
It's not much, really, is it?
Well, 2 hours sailing. When we left the marina and got some sails out and were running around putting fenders away, I mean, we were hitting triple figures already.
Yes, we did a week's worth of zone minutes. The other thing is that if you don't make the goals, it really encourages you to get up and do things. And whereas in the past I may have got a taxi to go shopping, I walk everywhere now. And when we're in KK, when we're stuck somewhere, a lot more walking than I ever did.
If you're on a boat, there are plenty of exercises that you can do on night watches just to keep yourself awake. It's always good to stay active. You could do squats in the cockpit.
That's what I do, up and down, count the 50 up and down.
There's yoga. I mean, yoga's quite difficult on our boat. We don't really have the room to stretch out fully, which is a bit of an issue. But we do have yoga mats. We should be employing those more frequently than we do.
Yeah, we do. We do our stretches. There's just about enough room to do it. We just don't really like doing it.
And of course, the big one is fishing.
Yes.
You hit your zone minutes, your weekly zone minutes, just putting the line out, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of up and down the stairs and putting the line out and but really I get quite a lot of, when I get a fish on the end of the line and I'm trying to reel it in by hand, I actually start panting sometimes when we get big fish. I really can work up a hell of a sweat. So yeah, another reason for going fishing.
Talking of fishing, we gave trolling out the back of a dinghy a little go at this anchorage.
So I've taken the squid off, which wasn't doing very much, although I didn't give it very much time to be honest, but I've put on a plug, so this one has a swimming motion. It stops and starts, so it looks more like a fish. And we'll go back along the reef. We'll go along the reef's edge, trying to avoid rocks if we can, because otherwise these snag. I've lost quite a few, but this isn't a Rappler, it's a cheaper version. Although it's a Strike Pro, they're not that cheap. So we'll just see how we get with this. That plug turned out to be far more successful than I had expected, because I caught something pretty quickly after that, and it was big and it was fighting. It almost dragged the dinghy backwards in my memory. But it was a barracuda, and there was no way that we were going to bring it on board. It has big sharp teeth. We didn't have anything to really catch it with. You didn't have your gloves with you. We didn't know what to do. So I held it for I don't know, it's about 3 meters off the dinghy, and I was holding it for a bit and we were trying to decide what to do, and it got off, actually much to my relief.
Well, that was very exciting, wasn't it? At least Liz proved that she can catch fish off the dinghy. She also proved that she's ill prepared with a lack of gloves, knives, things to hit the fish over the head with, water, beer. Anyway, we're now coming back to Big Fin because we fancy one of Ari's lovely local coffees which he makes fresh on the spot. Sharon and Lindsay have gone for another energetic walk today. I can't manage it, so we said we'd probably meet them here when they come back.
I just asked Ari what you do when you catch a big fish with tea.
Yeah.
Tell him.
Put the tea, open tissue, and then put the hair. Yes. Easy.
So you bring it up, you put it in the t-shirt, and then you break the head inside the t-shirt.
Are you wearing the t-shirt?
Are you wearing the t-shirt?
Yeah.
Doesn't bite your tummy?
Nah, because sometimes more easy just open here.
Yeah.
Just because tea, you know, very tea.
So you just need to have something in the dinghy that you can wrap round its head as soon as you get it up. Once you've got that round the head, then you've got control. So we'll know next time.
Yeah.
That was my fault.
Very strong, only tea.
Yes, I know.
Something your finger.
I know, it's not nice.
We've been posting up some pictures of Liz with her catches recently, and quite a few people have been saying, are you going to do a video on fishing tips, fishing off the back of a cruising boat? What do you reckon?
Well, I just don't feel that I've got the right to do that, because I just don't feel that I'm any kind of expert.
I think you're more of an expert than most of us. On a cruising boat, of course, there are lots of great fishing channels out there, but you know, we're in a fairly unique position being on a sailboat, so I think you could impart a few tips and tricks. Okay,
so what I've been thinking is I will just explain what I do, what I've learnt over the years and how I've progressed, and our fishing setup. I think that's probably what I can do. What do you think?
Well, if you like the idea of Liz doing a fishing video, then let us know in the comments. Thought we'd pop ashore this morning, have a look, see what's going on. We did check with the local to say, yeah, no problem, we can walk around. Bear in mind, at the time of recording, inter-district travel in Sabah is not allowed. They've just relaxed the laws on mainland Malaysia, but over here in Borneo, we're still very much restricted, even though the numbers are looking good. But one of the locals said, yeah, no problem, you can come ashore. We don't know if we can buy anything here. Might be able to pick up some vegetables, but we did hear there's a roti canai shop here, which would be very nice. That's a bit of a treat, having now been at anchor for a week or so in this spot. Liz is befriending the locals. That's Knock. Sharon and Lindsay met him the other day. He's one of the few people that actually speaks English here, and he's just told us we can get a coffee ashore, which is brilliant. It's a good start, isn't it? We've just walked from the little fishing village we beached the dinghy on, over the hill and round to this bay. This is the third bay that Big Fin is on, the dive resort, which is over there. This is the pick-up point. In fact, this whole area is where the tourists come when they want to go to Big Fin and do dives and boat trips and what have you. But as you can see, it's completely shut down. There is no one here. There's even a little area there where there's a restaurant, presumably where the tourists would grab something to eat before catching their boat ride. That's all locked up, chain on the gate. This is tourism in Sabah right now.
It's a shame it's all locked up. I was hoping to get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee after a short walk up and over, but I've got my water.
See, the problem here for a lot of the locals is that if they're not involved in fishing, they're involved in tourism. And it's so sad to see. Look at this beach. I mean, what a beautiful beach this is. Just by the rocks there, great for paddling. It's where the boats launch from, and that stunning view of the open ocean. It's just a perfect day for it, and yet it's all closed up. Lots of stilted houses here, fishing nets drying out, so obviously quite a few fishermen here, but yeah, no tourism at all. So it's not when you see scenes like this, places that are geared up for tourism, and you see that absolutely desolate. There is no one here at all. It's not until you see that you realise how much this whole pandemic has hit the tourism industry.